Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tech Tip Tuesday. This is episode 3. Today, we're going to be looking into two different subjects. Today is UPS's battery backups and Windows 10. Is it spying on you? Is it not? So, let's get into this. Thank you for being here today. As I said, this is episode 3. As always, please post your comments below. Give me some suggestions for the future. What would you like me to cover and what kind of topics would you like to discuss? If you have any questions on these topics that I'm about to cover, I'm also going to probably post some links afterwards. So stay tuned to about an hour or two after we finish. Then I'll be dropping some links on some of the items I mentioned here. So let's get going. Why use a UPS? What is a UPS? A battery backup. It stands for uninterruptible power supply. Basically, you want to use this because your power could go out. As we know, electronics, with computers anyways, you're modifying documents, you're typing in information, maybe you're working on accounting, you're entering some booking information, maybe you're producing a booking itself. Imagine this. You've spent half an hour into it and you're almost done, and that lightning storm comes around the corner and all of a sudden the lights start flickering. You get a little nervous, you think to yourself, well, it hasn't gone out, it keeps coming back, so I'm good. Honestly, that's already bad for your equipment. We could talk about refrigerators, microwaves, televisions, and etc., but let's focus on computers. What's happening is that most of these computers, especially when you get into laptops, but even desktops, they have a PSU, a power supply unit. This is what plugs into the wall, and then it connects to your computer. It's converting power. It's doing what it needs to do so that each component in your computer gets the amount of required electricity to operate. What happens if it gets too much power or not enough? Well, something's not going to act right. It's either going to get turned off, and it might just be a flicker of power. Your lights just dim out for a quick moment and come right back. Something like that is happening inside your computer at the same time. You see, there's a little bit of built up electricity in that power unit. Between the transistors, the capacitors, there's going to be a little bit of residual power left over when the power goes out. And something is going to get that power, but then another piece of your computer is not going to get power. So suddenly what you have is something working and something not. The power comes back on, and now that item that was not functioning, didn't have power, instantly gets power, a rush of electricity, and has to immediately start functioning. It wasn't a graceful turn on like when you first turn on your computer. So it can get a jolt of power, and right there it can fry it. Now, the electricity going out in and of itself is a bad thing. What if you're in the middle of that booking and your power goes out and you lose everything? Now it's not saved. You were just about to click that save button and poof, it was gone. Inside of a lot of applications, there is a feature for autosave. I encourage you to look into that. Microsoft Office products definitely have it. I set mine to save every minute. And it's not like a dialog box comes up every minute asking you, where do you want to save your file? No. We're just saying that you've already saved your file once. So now every minute it's going to save that same file again and again and again. So you don't have to you do not have to keep clicking the save button. So it's a good feature to look into, autosave. But if you don't have that enabled and your power goes out, you lost something, most likely. Now, that's only one of the reasons to get a battery backup. And what is a battery backup doing? This is not a generator solution. This is not let me buy a big battery backup so that when I lose power, I can keep playing on my PlayStation for all night, or I can keep watching Netflix on my laptop. That's not what this is for. What the battery backups are for is a short period of time. 5 or 10 minutes is all you need, so that if your power does go out, you can quickly save all your information and shut down your system yourself in a proper way. You go to your start menu, you click shutdown, or however you shut down your device. In this way, your data is safe, nothing's been lost, and your device is not being damaged. Of course, afterwards, unplug it from the wall, especially if you have lightning going on in your area or something along that nature. So lightning strikes is certainly one of them. Did you know that, I should have brought one up with me, but the power strips, there's not a battery backup, it's just a power strip. Probably everybody has their computer plugged into one of these. But it's just a power strip, has a lot of plugs in it, and then you just plug it into the wall, and now you have several different plugs. It's got a little switch, a little light. It tells you it's protected. From what? You see, lightning strikes are so much electricity that those power supplies, Those little power strips are not going to even come close to helping you. As a matter of fact, a battery backup will not help you if it is a direct lightning strike or if it is in your immediate area. There's so much electricity, there's so much power in the lightning strike that it will jump the fuse that is supposed to pop before damage happens. So lightning strikes, you're not going to be able to protect yourself very well with consumer products. Now here at TPI, we have a big, huge, massive battery backup that runs all of our servers. It's 16,000 volts. It has a double redundancy surge protection type component. And basically, if we get a direct lightning strike to this building, one of those components is going to pop and fail, but it'll never get to the second one. So our equipment that's still plugged in is safe. At my home, it's a very different story. When Hurricane Irma was coming through, I unplugged everything. I mean, it got bad around my area for a few days before we lost power. So what did I do? I charged up all my battery backups. I turned off all of my systems. I kept my battery backups fully charged, turned off in the event that we did not have power for several days, which we didn't. I was able to grab one of those battery backups, turn it on, and charge my cell phone. Spare power. So you can use your battery backups for emergency situations like that. What if all of a sudden in the middle of a power outage or lightning storm, you have to turn on your computer? Maybe it's a project you were working on, or a client called you from another state and they don't know that you have a hurricane over your head. They just want service. They want you to make that booking. How can you do that? In my particular case, I would turn on my laptop. I would take my cell phone and I would turn on the hotspot. I don't need to plug anything in for a few minutes. But what if it's a desktop? You need power. So turn on your battery backup, fire up your computer. Of course, everything's unplugged from the wall. Your computer's plugged into your battery backup. So if lightning is striking, it's not damaging anything, and you have the power that you need for a few minutes, again, you're only going to get a few minutes out of this. So this is not a solution for, half an hour of playtime or a binge series of Game of Thrones. It's not going to work for you that long. A couple things about battery backups. What are the risks? The risks are what could potentially go wrong with a battery backup. You don't want to plug in another battery backup to a battery backup. Don't chain them. There's so much power being drawn from the wall to keep the batteries charged and to provide power to your items plugged in, like your computer, that a second battery backup will be drawing too much power, too much current through the batteries, and something is going to fry. I did it myself. Don't do it. It will cause a fire pretty quick. Do not plug in a printer to a battery backup. Printers are very unique items, and HP themselves voids the warranty if they find out that you plugged in your printer to a battery backup. They highly recommend you don't. But most generally, every printer or scanner should be plugged in directly to a power surge, one of those little strips, not a battery backup. Again, too much power, current, bad things can happen. Don't plug in your speakers to your computer. Why do you need audio? If your power goes out, yeah, you might be watching a movie, but again, your power went out, you need to be shutting down your equipment. So you don't need your speakers plugged in probably. And any device that is pulling more wattage more volts than what your battery backup can support. So, a refrigerator, don't do it. Microwave, a hair dryer, drawing way too much amperage and it's going to fry that thing. So what do you plug in? I plug in my TV, my computer. I plug in my monitors, of course. You can plug in your landline telephone if you still have a telephone. Most battery backups have 2 ports for a regular telephone. One you plug in that goes to the wall, and the other one you plug your landline telephone into. And this way, any surges of electricity that from lightning strikes included that come through your telephone line, they would not zap you. I've only heard stories, don't have any examples of that happening. What else to plug in? External backups. Did you watch the last episode, by the way? Backup. You got to back up. Do you have an external backup? I hope you all do. If you're watching this episode, I trust that you watched the previous episode. Episode 2 included backup. So you have an external backup, and you want that plugged into your battery backup. Why? If the power goes out in the wall in a nasty way, you just suddenly lose electricity, you got a lightning strike, then your backup device, your external drive, could get damaged, of course, if it's plugged into the wall. And that's your backup. You don't want it damaged. That thing needs to be that is your gold. There's 2 of the most important devices as far as your business goes is the computer where you save your data on, and then your backup. You must ensure you always have one of those two under your control. If you're traveling, take your battery backup with you if you're not going to take your laptop. If you do take your laptop, then put your battery backup in a safe somewhere. Give it to your a loved one, a neighbor, somebody that's not traveling, to keep it safe for you. You don't want somebody breaking into your home and taking your data. And if your laptop gets lost and somebody broke into your home, you're out of everything. Just take the extra step. An external backup is super easy to make sure that it's safe. Give to your friend, lock it in the safe, something like that. And then what size? There's a lot of different sizes of battery backups that you could buy. Of course, the one like I mentioned that I have downstairs in the IT room, it's a massive 16,000 volt battery backup. You don't need anything that big. My suggestion is anything from the range of 500 volts to 650 volts, or 750 volts. Probably right about the sweet spot right now. Actually, the sweet spot right now is the 600 volt APC unit. I'm going to have two links posted to this video afterwards. But right now there's a sale going on. You can find them on most websites that sell APC. It's a manufacturer. It's a type of battery backup. APC is the leader. There's nobody that even comes close to comparing with APC. So when it comes to battery backups, there's only one company that can be suggested. That is APC. Don't ever buy something else. I'm sorry, guys. It's not a monopoly. There's other options. They are light years ahead of everybody else in price and what they do, functionality, everything. So APC has a sale right now, and there's 600 volt units. It's the new style. It's still 600 volts, but it looks newer. And right now you can get them at $58. I'm going to have two links posted below. One to Newegg, which is one of my preferred little techie websites to buy from. Very trustworthy. I've used them for many years. And of course, on Amazon, you can find the same price. So I have those posted below. And in the 600 volt, that's going to get you good for a desktop computer, your monitors. If you have a modem, your wireless modem, your wireless router and your modem, you can plug into there too. I actually have a 500 volt battery backup dedicated to my internet router and my wireless router, my modem and router. Why? Because if the power goes out, I want to continue playing my PlayStation for a few minutes. Come on, people. I have a huge 1000 volt on my PlayStation, so I can keep playing for about 25 minutes. So if I don't have internet, I can't play. So Hurricane Irma didn't affect me for the first 30 minutes after losing power. But again, I know what I have, and I know that after the first 20 minutes, I need to start turning off my PlayStation myself. I don't want to run it out of juice. I don't want to completely drain the power, because then it's just going to turn off instantly, not in a good way. It'd be like on your cell phone if you just remove the battery with it turned on, not good. So ladies and gentlemen, battery backups. I consider it an optional accessory. It is not a requirement. A requirement is your external backup. Okay, your backup drive from episode 2. Please watch it. So backing up your data is critical. You must do that. And as long as you're doing that, then a battery backup is an optional accessory. Because if your power goes out and it fries your computer and the laptop or the desktop is completely dead and it's never going to work again, then you still have your data on the backup. That's what makes this battery backup an accessory. Probably one of the most important accessories you could purchase. So please look into it. And buy yourselves a couple. You might have one in your bedroom. You might have one at your computer. You might have one connected where your TV is. I'm sure most of you have expensive smart televisions nowadays and flat screens and 40-inch and 50-inch, 70-inch TVs, and these things are expensive. And one little shock of electricity can fry it. And there's no warranty that covers that. So a simple battery backup for less than $60, I don't know, it might be worth it. Windows 10. All right, so I spent a lot of time on battery backups, and I wanted to spend the majority of the time on Windows 10. I try to keep these Tech Tip. By the way, do you like the new name? Did you see the new name? It is Tech Tip Tuesday. I want to give a round of applause to Elizabeth. She came up with this name. It's amazing. I love it. Anyway, so Tech Tip Tuesday is the new name of this series, and it's going to continue being on Tuesdays. There might be sometimes that it cannot happen on Tuesday, or it might need to be earlier in the day or later in the day, but we're going to try to keep it at 3 o'clock Eastern Time on a Tuesday. We'll be announcing the schedule. We actually scheduled out all the rest of this year, which is just today. For next year, for the first half of next year, we already have the schedule. So I'll be posting that below to this video so that you guys know when these Tech Tip Tuesdays will be happening. And I try to keep these Tech Tip Tuesdays at about 15 minutes, no more than 20 minutes. So I try to cram a lot of information in there super fast so that you guys don't have to spend a lot of time, but can really use this knowledge. And today I'm probably going to go over just a few minutes. So Windows 10, is it spying on you? Well, so let me mention a few sources. According to AVG, AVG is a trusted company. They make some antivirus software, a free version. You probably all have heard of them. AVG quote, if by spying you mean collecting information about you without you knowing, then no, Microsoft is not hiding the fact that they are collecting data from you. So if you heard me correctly, what AVG just said was they're not spying on you because they're telling you they're taking your information. So it's not considered spying. Okay, so if I tell you I'm going to steal your information, then it's not stealing. I kind of disagree. You see, spying on somebody, in my personal opinion, is beyond just that person knowing that you're obtaining information from them. In my opinion, it is gathering information they don't want you to have, that they never gave to you or authorized you to have. That also constitutes spying. According to ZDNet, no, not at all. These people that think Windows is spying on them, they need tinfoil hats. Quoted from them. Okay, so moving on to Forbes. Forbes quoted, Windows 10 is constantly tracking how it operates and how you are using it and sending that information back to Microsoft by default. Despite offering options to turn tracking elements off, core data collection simply cannot be stopped. Now, Forbes hit it on the head perfectly. There's some options that Microsoft built into Windows 10 that those options signify your computer or laptop will send information back to Microsoft. And by disabling those options, it's not going to send that data. It's true. These options exist. I will explain how you disable them. However, what they go on to say is that second part of the sentence. Despite offering options to turn tracking elements off, core data collection simply cannot be stopped. And that is true. Microsoft is spying on you. They are collecting elements of data from your computer that you probably don't want them to have, and you would have never imagined that they're able to gather. I'm going to get into some examples of what they're collecting in a moment, but let me describe to you what I believe is spying. I wrote this myself, and I stated, obtaining information that you do not have permission to have in order to perform an action that was not expected by the recipient. A couple of examples. If my brother snuck into my room and looked over my shoulder as I wrote in my journal the formula for liquid dial soap, then he used that formula to make the best soap in the world that benefited millions. It's still spying. So that example is kind of silly, and it never happened. I'm no genius. I didn't write no formula. My brother picked on me a lot, but he never looked over my shoulders. I wrote in my journal. But if he were to steal or take or obtain information that was not offered to him, and even use it for super good in the world, to cure hunger, well, I'm sorry, you obtained it in the wrong way. It's still spying. Yeah, hey, congratulations on curing that issue, but it's still spying. Second example, if your cell phone provider tracks and reports every location you go to and sends it to their system, and their system reads every text you send and scans every web page you visit in order to create a more precise marketing ad that will interest you, that is spying. That's basically what Microsoft is doing. They are gathering information from your computer of websites you go to, apps that you use, what you look at, and what your likes are. When you go to a website and you go shopping, what do you look for? Oh, they are learning information about, and why? Why are they doing this? Well, they're making millions of dollars off of this data. What they're doing is they're collecting this data and they're creating profiles for each of us. This profile consists of what my likes are, my interests, my browsing history, my location history, how often I text people, the contents of my emails. Microsoft combines all of this stuff to get some metric about John Fester. And what they decide is John's a techie. He likes nature. He buys drones. And so when I go shopping, the ads on the site, they start targeting me. Or the emails I get are advertisements about this stuff. Where I go to Amazon, I start seeing these things showing up advertised on sale. And it's a drone. And how do they know that? Do you have an Amazon Echo? Maybe a future episode there. So they gather this stuff and they create a profile that they sell to other companies, marketing companies. And they sell this profile information for tons of money. And then they're able to then market to you, direct target ads to you. So yes, I do consider that spying. What do you do about this? How do you stop it? Did you watch the last episode? Again, I'll mention that episode, but did you buy a security software? Do you have security on your computer? Do you protect your data? What about the data on your computer of your clients? You got to protect it. So you configure it so it blocks ads, it can disable tracking information, it sends the do not track request to the website so they cannot sell it onto other companies. It disables the ability to collect all of the analytical data on your computer, like what apps you open the most and things like that, how long you spend on a website or how many movies you watch, how many emails you get, how many texts you send, and on and on and on it goes. And all this information is yours. And you might say, well, I'm not hiding anything, and I get that. I'm not hiding either. But I didn't offer that information to anybody. I didn't give it. It's not public. I don't want the world to know. It's not theirs. It's mine. So I want to protect it. On Windows 10, there's a couple steps that you can take. What you want to do, and I'll post this in a comment below, how to get to this section, but you want to go to your settings. Under your settings, you're going to find something called privacy. Now here's the easy part. Go through every single option under privacy and turn every one of them off. Every single one of them. There's not an option under privacy that you should leave enabled. Read them as you're turning them off. Read what it says. These people that were saying, ZNet, that was saying that Windows is not spying on us, I guess they didn't read what these options say. Yes, it is sending, collecting information, sending it off to Microsoft that I don't want them to have. And you can disable these options, but that's only the superficial stuff. Like that comment read earlier by Forbes, those are the options you can control. Even after you turn those off, Windows 10 is still sending a ton of information to Microsoft that you cannot turn off. So you need an additional software that can do that for you. You need to be able to block the outgoing information. And that's where your security software comes into play. You configure it so that it cannot send that type of analytical data, or that the website cannot track where you go next or where you came from. It cannot read your emails. So good security software will do that for you. There's no free software that can do that for you. I like saying you get what you pay for. Invest in a good security software. You can watch the previous episode for some recommendations. And with that software, you could be able to disallow the sending of your personal information. So why would Microsoft want to do this? Collect all the history, the browsing, the chat, the email, the text, etc. Well, like I mentioned, is to create direct marketing offers to you. They sell it to other companies. They build the profiles. And ultimately, it's a moneymaker. It's marketing. I'm going to throw one little bonus in here. We're almost finished. So there's one setting that you also want to change inside of Windows 10. You get to it by going to Settings, Windows Update, and then Advanced Options. Now, if you have the very latest version of Windows 10, then you need to click on Delivery Optimization. You're going to find an option called Allow Downloads from Other PCs. Turn that crap off. Basically, this is saying allow other computers in the world to download updates from your computer. So your computer is now acting like a Microsoft server to send Microsoft updates to other people around the world. And that scares me very much, because you don't get to control what other data is attached to those updates that's going out from your computer. Microsoft's going to say it's only updates, there's nothing else. But it's interesting that it has to first go through Microsoft to get to that person. Then why isn't Microsoft just sending it to them? Could there be other data being sent to Microsoft? So ladies and gentlemen, I wrap it up with that. I leave you with an inquisitive thought in your mind. And please secure your data, secure your system. There's a lot of information that is going off of your system. not just to Microsoft, but to other companies as they will buy it from Microsoft. So secure yourself, secure your clients, get your computer backed up, get it secure, and also get a battery backup so that if your power goes out, you can keep on gaming. Hey, Barry and I like to say thank you for watching another episode of Tech Tip Tuesday. Enjoy your day. Bye.